Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Empowered Women podcast, celebrating courageous women who turn struggles into success. And I'm your host, Nicole Ananda. And for the last 20 years, as a certified life coach and healing arts professional, I've supported women to live a life of passion, power, and purpose so that they can experience more love, more joy, and more success. If you're ready to ignite your life, please subscribe to the Empowered Women channel and become a part of our community where excuses hold no power, resilience reigns, transformation happens, authentic power is created, and wise women lift each other up higher and higher. And today's wise woman is Rachel Kalb. Rachel is a dynamic force in the digital marketing realm and a pivotal figure in the Growth Under Influence program. She's got a rich background in steering a successful digital marketing agency and contributing at the executive level to several successful digital tech startups. She is a dynamic woman, and she merges the worlds of coaching, wellness, and technology seamlessly. Her journey is marked by 2 decades of dedicated experience where she has honed her skills in creating impactful digital strategies and fostering growth. Rachel holds an MBA, a testament to her deep understanding of business and marketing principles. Her academic achievements have laid a strong foundation for her professional endeavors, enabling her to navigate the complexities of the digital landscape with ease. That is a huge skill. As the head of operations for Evolve Well, Rachel is at the forefront of innovation in the wellness industry. Evolve Well is a startup that's dedicated to developing a cutting-edge tech platform designed for coaches and therapists. The platform emphasizes personal growth and meditation, reflecting Rachel's commitment to holistic well-being. And beyond her professional life, Rachel is a devoted mother to her twins. She cherishes the moments spent with her family and embraces every opportunity to travel and explore new cultures. Residing in the lush surroundings of Oregon, she finds solace and inspiration in the great outdoors, which serves as a constant reminder of the beauty and the serenity that life has to offer. What a beautiful bio that is. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you for
Yeah,
that
and I was
beautiful
thinking,
intro.
wow, it's so beautiful. I love that you wrapped in Oregon's lushness, and that's how we know each other. And I've been on a few walks with Rachel through our beautiful Lithia Park in Oregon. And I have not yet been on a play date with you and your twins, but we need to do that.
They had play dates together before because they used to go to
Oh, that's right, at the
elementary school
daycare.
together.
That's right,
Yeah.
they went to daycare together. I forgot about that. Totally forgot about that. So they did have play dates actually when they were younger. And I just think you're an amazing woman and you have so much to share with us. So we'll start today, as we do with this podcast, asking about your personal story and what struggles you've turned into success. And then we'll just go from there and we'll just see where we go with our conversation. So, welcome, Rachel.
Well, thank you so much wow, what a beautiful introduction. Thank you for sharing my bio. And I just love what you're doing, how you're helping women to shine in their full expression of joy and empowerment. And yes, more of
Oh,
that.
yes.
We need more of that. And platforms like this that really lift women up and that we really support and collaborate. So thank you. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, so I can go into kind of what the struggle piece and then coming out the other side of that struggle piece. And I think so many women, can relate to sort of different aspects of my journey as well as, all of our journeys as women, mothers, wives, partners, whatever we are in the world.
Yes.
Just being able to relate, and I'm going to just kind of go back to I'm going to go back to 2014. And I had actually been a massage therapist for many years and in the wellness industry, and I really loved it. I knew at a very young age that my purpose in the world was to help heal and to help bring transformation. I've always known that. And that has not changed, even though the way I've brought healing and transformation has changed. But I found myself at kind of a crossroads in life after having lived this very beautiful sort of free spirit existence. I spent time living in Bali, did a lot of world travel. I was a massage therapist to the entertainment industry in Southern California. So I'd go backstage at concerts and shows and really just had so much fun. And I found myself in 2014 pregnant, knowing that I would be a single mom. I knew from actually that moment that I found out I was pregnant and I found out I was having twins
Wow.
on
Yeah.
top of it. And it was honestly a gift from the universe. It was such a pivotal point in my life. I knew I had always wanted to be a mother. Now it didn't quite go in the path that I had expected or thought it would, but it's all been so divinely perfect. And it was a choice that I made at that moment to like, I'm going to do this. You know, there was definitely a strength that came in that exact moment of like, I know that their father may not be around or in the picture, but I'm going to do this. I'm being called to do this. And there's a reason I got twins. You know, I mean, whether you believe in God, the universe, source, I believe it gives us what we can handle and what we need, right, to teach us. So, um, it was a struggle, man. It was really hard just even through the pregnancy and I decided actually after my babies were about, I think maybe 9 months old, I decided to go back to school and get a business degree because I was still doing massage and I was sort of implementing wellness programs in the corporate space. But I thought, you know, I need to do something a little bit more solid. I'd always been helping people with business on the side, grow their business, build websites. I was always sort of in technology and sort of a techie, nerdy kind of girl underneath it all. So I went back to school and I got my business degree and I ended up finding a job that I could really merge my love of wellness, but be home. And so I started working for an app called Noom. It was quite popular at the time. We had coaches all over the world. It was a weight loss app, but really using systems of motivational interviewing and cognitive behavior therapy and really helping people to set goals. So
Wow.
I loved it. And I started off as a group coach and I would coach, I don't know, I think I had about 40 groups with 90 people that I was running at
Wow.
a time, which I loved. It was so much fun. And the best part was I got to be at home. I got to work remote. So this was before people were really even working remote,
Right.
in the corporate space. So that was sort of my, you know, first taste of working remote, working from home. And quickly I went into leadership. And within 6 months, I became a leader for the company and I was managing a team of coaches who were
Wow.
all working with probably about 500 app users at a time. So it was great though. You know what? I got to lead in a way that felt so good. I felt so empowered actually in the way I was able to lead. I was able to run personal growth. Like we're going to do journaling today. I mean, really, I was given so much flexibility and freedom. And that really helped me to have the confidence, you know, that I have now and to continue in roles of leadership and kind of working my way up. And yeah, so I credit it to that having such a supportive environment, which makes
Wow. That's
all the
amazing.
difference, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that job really led me down this road of then I went on to work for a venture-backed women-founded startup in financial wellness. Same principle. It was really bringing human coaching in with app tools and technology. But this is when coaching really started to take off, kind of pre-pandemic, during the pandemic, and post-pandemic. And so, you know, actually, during that time, in 2020, we also had wildfires come through this
Yeah.
area.
Mhm.
And so, you know, I was finishing up grad school. I was working from home, which was great, but raising the twins by myself.
Wow.
And then a fire came and took our home. And very suddenly, I had left that morning to take my kids to the YMCA and I never got back. I never evacuated I lost everything.
Wow. Yeah.
And so, of course, at the time it was, I mean, I was finishing grad school. I was working full time. I was raising twins. It was during the pandemic. So they were doing kindergarten from home on
Oh
Zoom.
my gosh.
Well, I was running these like Zoom meetings with my team and trying to manage and lead. And I kept it all together and I kept putting one foot in front of the other, which gave me incredible resilience and strength. But there's a but in there because I didn't really pause to heal and work through, some of the trauma and what was going on. It was just, I was so focused. But that resilience is so, so powerful because I was able to, not only like get through that and get us everything that we needed to get back on our feet as far as, finding a new home and
Mm,
keeping that all together. But I did right away know that I need to go and do some healing. I need to work through this because there's probably
mm,
things happening that I'm so focused on
yeah.
striving ahead and taking care of everybody, so it was really important to me at that time to start looking at, trauma healing and things like that,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Yeah.
So, that was a struggle. And I think when things like that happen, we have a choice. We can either, sort of fall apart, which is totally okay. Absolutely. When we're in struggle, it's
Right.
actually necessary to fall apart a little bit. And there's times I think I should have fallen apart a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah.
But I made this choice to just like, I'm going to put one foot in front of the other and I'm going to forge ahead. And pros and cons to that, because what happened is the next startup that I got in, I just worked so hard. I started to think, well, the harder I work means the more I'm going to get ahead. The harder I work means the more money I'm going to make, which means I can provide a better life for my family. But what happened in that process is I got so burnt out. I just was working, working, working. And it took me like getting to that point of burnout with work to also see the other ways that I wasn't really taking care of myself.
Mm,
And I think we throw around this self-care, but the thing is like just going and getting a massage or taking a little weekend away or that wasn't it. I needed to learn real self-care, and real self-care meant really like what I'm doing now, consistent daily practices of journaling for me. This is what
yeah.
works for me. Journaling, guided meditation,
Yeah.
working with mindset coaches, working with people who keep me accountable,
Yeah.
really continuing to focus on that well-being consistently.
Mhm.
So it took getting through these struggles that I kept going, I kept pushing ahead, and it's brought me to a place of incredible growth and incredible success. But I also had to get to that place of total burnout to start to truly take care of myself. So
Oh,
I
God, it's
pause there. I've said a
yeah.
lot.
Well, it's such a good lesson, and it's like something obviously I work with as well with women, and it's usually like the first question that I ask clients who come back who are saying, "Oh, I'm struggling, and there's this going on and that going on," and I'm like, "Take a breath," and I'm like, "How's your self-care going?" And usually they go, "I knew you were going to ask me that question, and of course it's not doing well." And I'm like, right, because it is a practice. It's a daily practice. And most people don't know that. We've never been taught that in school or in PE or any of those things as we're growing up, that mindfulness and mind body anything, really, at least for me. And it's changing in schools as we know, but it's such a big part of life. And then where's the work life balance? And women like you who are resilient and can get all the things done and have a strong masculinity, it's easy to just push right through. And then there's usually also though this like deep yearning as a woman to also like be like, well, who's going to take care of me? Or when do I get to be taken care of? Or when do I get to relax? Or where's my time to soften? And there may not be that man, or and it doesn't have to show up as a partner necessarily, but there may not be that opening, and there may not be the ability to go, oh, I can actually receive. And so as we do become more adept at our own self-care, we start to see, oh, I can be the feminine, I can be the masculine, and I get to enlist them in the right moments. But there is the balance that's needed for wholeness and to the holistic healing to happen. So it's a great lesson for all of us.
It
Yeah.
is. And I think even like like realizing that I was operating from masculinity, that go, 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 get things done, drive, 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 achieve, achieve. It took me a while after doing that for so long and being in that space to even be like, whoa, I'm tired. I'm tired. And how do I even begin to unlearn that a little bit? Because I've been in that go mode. I mean, really, it's almost fight or flight when coming from sort of survival and knowing that I needed to push ahead to take care of my family, to support us. Like I have had to sort of play all of those roles.
Yeah.
So first of all, just even having awareness that I have, or that I have a tendency, especially in business, to operate from a place of, a masculine place, and then learning how do I, this is something I'm even still in the process of learning and want to learn more about, is operating from that, both that deep feminine place of being able to soften, surrender, relax. Like even for me, learning how to respond, not react, even learning how to not be coming from a place of urgency, like instead of, oh, I have to do this right away, I have to answer this email or this call, or and being like, no, I can take some breaths. Like we don't learn in school how to reset our nervous system, how to even know what our nervous system is doing. I'm in my mid 40s and it's like, oh, I need to take care
Right.
of my nervous system. And when I take care of my nervous system and I operate from that place of mindfulness and breathing and relaxation, I'm actually so much more laser focused and sharp to get the things done that I need to do. But I think we're so conditioned to achieve and accomplish. And so even as a woman, even as a very feminine woman,
Yeah.
how do I learn how to do that and to unlearn some of that? So like that is a part of this process that I'm in as well.
Yeah, yeah, me too, me too. And we grew up in that environment, right? So that culturally, it's like women had to become more masculine to keep up with men, to be entering the workforce with men, to get paid like men, to do all the things like men. And now finally, I think we're coming to that place of saying, well, no, we don't need to be like men. We need to be women, because we're women. And now everything's it's still not completely equal, but it's equalizing, let's say. We don't need to be victims of it anymore. It's like things are equalizing. And women have proved that they're just as capable in the workforce as any other person. And we do need masculinity and we do need femininity. And so it's a really great time to really look at both of those qualities and see how we can balance them. And like the deep feminine, I think in business, I think the power of it is our intuition, is really tapping into sitting back, like you were saying, and responding a little bit more. It's like, I don't need to make an impulsive decision. I don't need to know the answer in this moment. I can take pause. I can feel into something, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with feeling, as long as our emotions aren't overriding everything, because we know they're temporary. But like really feeling into like, does this feel good for ourselves? Does this feel good for the collective energy? Because now we're starting to realize also there's a collective energy to any business. There's a collective energy to anything we're doing. So we need to be aware of that piece too, which if we're just like bam, bam, bam all the time, we're not really in that visionary state. We're not really in that vibe, the frequency of things. And so that's really important, especially if we want to create systems that are good for the whole and not just for the pockets, right? It's really valuable to have that feminine energy. It's like you're part of a new community. I'm parts of lots of different networking communities, and there's definitely that unseen vibratory energy. And a lot of that is very feminine. You have to be feminine in your nature, or in the feminine energy to feel that, right? To get an idea or a sense of what that is. And that's so important for any organization.
It is. I think you said, you said it. It's intuition. It's really learning how to tap into and listen to that intuition. And I think about like all of those sort of struggles that I went through in, just raising children alone and a fire and kind of achieving more and more. And what I have learned from all of that that's brought me to a place now is that the more I listen to my intuition and the less that I push forward now and allow to come to me, um, the more comes. The more success comes, the more opportunities come, the more I really truly do believe in manifesting because I'm creating visions from a place of, deep inner knowing and intuition and a place from integrity. I am asking
Yeah.
from a place of integrity and I'm listening more. That was the other thing that I've had to really learn. And I think there's a masculine and feminine dynamic is how much are we listening versus
Right.
speaking and versus like, like I'm relearning how to listen. And in the listening, I'm receiving, right? And in the listening, I'm allowing, and it's been a really beautiful thing to witness that actually the more I relax, we talk about self-care. What's so amazing is like the more self-care, true self-care, daily, like my morning practice is I don't want to get on the computer and start jumping into work until I listen to a guided meditation or I go for a walk or and it's really important to me to do certain things and the more that I create space for those things that are good for my soul, good for my body, my mind, my nervous system, I am so much sharper. I am so much more focused. I am receiving so much more. I am much more a channel for clarity to come through and I'm not wasting my time. I feel like I'm able to almost like people talk about sort of this quantum space. And I feel like I'm much more living in that quantum space where there's no real time. Time sort of collapses. I don't have the words to exactly explain it, but what I do know is that by tapping into that intuition, that self-care, that allowing, that relaxing, that also not coming from a place of fear or scarcity. Even if I recognize those feelings, even if I wake up and I think, oh, I've got some anxiety today, what's this about? Even if the mind wants to go to like those places, when I sit back and I allow more and I create space for it and I breathe, as you know, like make
Yeah.
room to just like breathe. It's just beautiful what comes naturally. It just like it keeps
Uh,
blowing me away that the more I relax, the more I receive.
I love that you said all of that. And the word that kept like popping in was trust also. Like there's a deep space of trust that you tap into when you do relax because it is like the nervous system being in a state of abundance versus that state of fight or flight, and that parasympathetic nervous system, that trust, that abundance consciousness. I love that you said time collapses because I've used that term too, or even that time stretches. But
Mm.
it's like this, there is a quickening, right? When we get out of kind of like dense matter of physical 3D, where there is that kind of consciousness of like, get more and more, consumerism, there's a lot of density there. So I can imagine us kind of slugging through energy, like trying to get somewhere. Whereas when you're in like that quantum field, it's everything's like that, right? It's just like the quickening. And so it makes sense to me what you just said, because it's like if we're tapping in there where there is none of that sluggishness of energy, it's just all up in that kind of open field of infinite possibility, then it's like all the little synapses are going, meet with this person, go to this place. It's like,
Exactly. And it's also such a great space to like ask the questions of like and get a quick answer, the intuitive answer of like this is a yes, this is a no. Like it's such an efficient place to process from, but we have to know how to get there. And the
yeah,
way to get there is through really relaxing and like you said,
yeah,
trusting and allowing. And
I love
there's
it.
some other techniques that I'm sure you help your clients with, that
Mhm.
I've implemented like breathing and,
Yeah.
guided meditation and imagery and things like that to help get to that space because that space is where magic lives.
It is so where magic lives. I'm curious, have you seen, this comes to your kids, and if it's too personal, let me know. But I found this with my child too. It's like we're always modeling ourselves, and we end up modeling our nervous systems. So when
Mhm.
my son was born, his dad and I split when he was 1, and there was a lot of chaos going on in our lives. And I remember being single for many of the things that I needed to go to. Like his dad was living in a different place and there were weekends, but I was also managing everything and I was driving everywhere and I was in LA and I was stressed and financially time bound, stressed, didn't have a lot of support. And I see it now. Now he's almost 9 in his nervous system. I see that kind of like, like almost like that kind of like panicky nervous system energy. And I'm like, oh my God, I totally mapped his nervous system to match mine then. And I know that there's still time because he's 9. So I'm trying to give him some tools. And I'm curious because you went through kind of like a lot of chaos too, let's say when they were younger. And if you're seeing that in them now, and like if we could be parents for a moment and talk about like tools that we might even like give our kids that we are now exhibiting, like now that we've kind of gone to the other side and we have our own self-care. Do you utilize your self-care tools now with your children? Have you seen that
Yeah.
with them? I'm kind of just
Well,
curious.
it's interesting because I actually I think that I learned some of my nervous system ways, of course, from my mom.
Uh-huh, yeah.
And she learned them from her mom and her
Sure.
parents. But it's taken me a long time to realize even some of that, like operating from urgency or reacting or that impulsiveness, or that some of that is maybe even epigenetic or ancestral that we bring in. But I do believe when we're consciously aware and then we're aware of these tools, one, we can start to heal that in ourselves at any age. So
Yes, yes.
I think that's always available to us. But it's really interesting. I've noticed that my daughter, and I don't know if it's from like being stressed and her kind of witnessing also me, the way I worked. I look back and think when I got burnt out, they saw me working 16, 17-hour days, not taking very good care of myself, not having as much time or energy for them. So I've really made a conscious effort now to turn that around. But I do see things coming out in behavior, in tone, in yeah. And what I've noticed that's interesting, because I do have twins and they're very different. Of course, I have a boy and a girl. So they're fraternal and they're night and day different. But my son likes to join me when I do these breath work sessions. Like he'll actually join me and do the breathing. And like he's really like me. He's really like open. I'm really open when it comes to like personal development and doing sound baths or plant medicine journey. Like I'm really open to learning and things if they feel good and they feel safe, and exploring, personal development. And I can see has that in him. So I think that there's like this curiosity he has that my daughter doesn't quite have or doesn't have yet,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
that I always had, where he's like, "Oh, you're doing, let me just start joining you in this breathing." And he'll
That's
get
amazing. I love that.
and he loves it. And I love that he does that. And actually, we went through a period of time where there was some extra stress with their dad. And I noticed that a lot of anger came up for him at the time. And it was a tough period. And he had all of this anger. But we've really been able to turn that anger around. And he's just like so like sweet and loving and warm. And I don't see that sort of resentment or that anger in him at all. And I do think a lot of that has to do with them seeing the shifts I've made in my
Yeah.
life, where I'm doing they know I do my journaling, they see me doing I'm listening to a meditation right now, or I have a massage chair in my bedroom that like I'm gonna go lay for 20 minutes in my massage
I
chair.
love it.
And he comes with me and we go hike every day. I'll be on the computer for a while, I'll be like, okay, we're gonna go for a hike now. And he comes with me. So he's really into it now. My daughter, not so much. So I do still see some of those nervous system things that are like pieces I can see that I think we could work on if she's open to it. And I'm going to kind of allow the
Yeah.
space for that. I would love for her to join and be curious and do some of these things, but one of the things we love to do is like in the summer at the park here, they'll do silent disco, where you put
Oh my
on,
God, yes.
you just go dance. So I really believe, because I've learned for myself that there's like the more I do somatic work,
Uh-huh.
that is such an incredible way to heal the nervous system, and kids love that. They naturally know how to get into their bodies. And so I think it's actually a really potent time to teach them the breathing and these sort of somatic practices, especially when they're upset or they're crying or they're in pain or there's anger, to teach them how to kind of go into those somatic practices. So I'm sort of trying to connect those dots and do that as a way of teaching while they sort of find their own way. But hopefully I'm modeling. I think I am, because I do see it,
Yeah.
especially with my son. But yeah, I think that
That
we
is great.
absolutely imprint, and I think we can shift that and help them to heal and grow just like we are throughout our entire life.
Right? I mean, I just think as long as, yeah, we're modeling and we are admitting, like this is the thing, like when we were growing up, I could say we, I guess I'm a little bit older than you, but when we were growing up, there wasn't so much attention to any mindfulness, right? So a lot of it was either like talk therapy or sweeping everything under the rug and not saying anything at all. Like there was just like this polarity, right? And now there's so much at our fingertips. And I agree with you. They're naturally in their bodies. So if we have now the research and the awareness that moving things through the body is really the key to not having stagnation and disease and everything else, like the somatic work is really right now, it's like the biggest trend, right? In any wellness is like somatics, right? Like all of therapy is even turning towards, like I get referrals from therapists all the time to do breath work with clients and to do the either yoga, mindfulness, meditation, breath work, whatever it is, to have that mind body connection, to take it back then to the therapist for more of the cognitive therapy. So it's like we're all working together in tandem and in synergy. So if we have that awareness now, it's just like I would imagine that they'll have the tools, at least this is my hope, to really work things through on such a holistic level, so much more than when we grew up, right? We're just coming to this, right? Like recently,
Yeah.
if you will. I'm just
Yes.
hoping like that's just going to
And
really
the next level would be like
level.
getting this into school. I think, oh man, this would be so, and maybe they are. I'm sure there are some schools that are already, incorporating, I know, like some mindfulness and yoga
Uh,
and breathing and
yeah,
all of that. But absolutely. And you made such a powerful point that even like therapists and even like psychoanalysts and people that have been much more leaning towards that, more logic linear
yeah,
path when it comes to healing trauma are now seeing and experiencing and understanding the benefits. So
yeah,
yes, I think the more we integrate all of this together, the mind, body, spirit, and along with, let's, like, it's okay to talk about our healing and our trauma
yes,
and our pain at any age. Like, I really want my kids to tell me what's going on at every step of the way, because you hear these stories in the news that are just absolutely tragic, of kids getting bullied and not knowing how to even process that. So it's so important to me that
uh,
let's get it all out. Let's feel it to heal it.
yes. Oh my God, it's so amazing. I would, I know that you're working for Evolve Well, and then you've got growth under influence, and Evolve Well feels like a natural kind of extension of what we're talking about. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about Evolve Well and what you guys are up to there.
Yeah. We're just really we're a startup, and our culture and our mission is really rooted in working with coaches and therapists, and we're building a platform to really kind of provide tools that are going to benefit coaches and therapists, and also help for between sessions. And I think what happens a lot, whether you're a coach or a therapist, is you meet weekly, or you meet a couple times a week, or you have a program that might last for a certain period of time. Um, And those are sort of peak experiences, right? When you're meeting with your coach and you're really in it and you're focused. And sometimes you need a little more support between those sessions to actually do the work, to integrate. The integration of these things it's so important to continue to integrate, to hold on to it. So we're really building a platform around that idea, and to also create some community. And we're tying in some of the things I've talked about. So some of these ideas of mindfulness, of journaling, of breath work, of meditation, and more. And so we're just really still in the development phase of that. And I do things related to operations and related to marketing. Really where I come in is I have such a great connection with many coaches because I've really spent the last 9 or 10 years in that sort of industry and working in the coaching field, the coaching and technology field. And then in the last few years, I've really built my own business consulting and working with coaches and really getting to know. One of the biggest things I noticed is that a lot of coaches and healers are trying to stand out in the online space, but really they're empaths and they want to just show up and they want to do the healing and they want to do the deep work. And so they struggle to put together all those marketing pieces. And
Yes.
so part of my goal now with like sort of this audience that I've built in the coaching space is to really highlight and promote and share these incredible coaches and their offers and help them stand out in a really noisy world of social media, and do what I can to really help highlight, because there's so many incredible transformational modalities. I learn of new ones every day,
Oh my
whether it's energy, somatic, cognitive behavior therapy, sort of based on that, or there's just so much. And I learn about these new things and I'm blown away, like, wow, this is incredible. And then I have different experiences of it. And I'm just like, I want to soak it all up. There's so much good stuff out there. And I actually feel like we're living in a time where I call them light workers, healers. We're sort of being called to rise up and help and share gifts. Even people who were like in the corporate world, and even people who are like, I've always sort of had this, but I haven't shared it. I haven't done it with it. Like they're coming out of the woodwork and saying, I'm ready to bring this gift and I want to connect with people. So people are like having more awareness that they need healing. They want healing. They're seeking it. They want to go deeper. They want to grow, they want to transform. And then the people who offer it. And I just see this beautiful merging and coming together right now. So I feel I'm sort of a connector in that space and I can see it. I'm a visionary. So I'm really trying to, both with Evolve Well and with Growth Under Influence, that's really the same common purpose, is to bring the healers to those who need healing and merge it all together for greater human consciousness and healing and awareness.
Oh, it's so important. I mean, it's like every time I'm on this podcast or at these networking events, I'm like, wow, there is so much out there, and it just keeps expanding because technology keeps expanding and we're rapidly evolving. And so there's more and more and more and more stuff, and it's incredible. And I see kind of like what you do. Like I do see that there's all these healers and all these light workers, and it's like I'm in that industry, so to me it feels like everybody's in that industry, but it's a small percentage if you're looking at the total population of people that are really gathering and create and becoming kind of the way showers of this new almost healthcare system. It's like all these old structures need to fall apart, if you will, as others are being born. And I do feel like there's this really beautiful synergy happening and confluence of a bunch of different events and technology to gather all of these people together and formulate like what is this new earth that we all talk about. What does that look like? Is it centralized light workers and coaches and therapists with all these different modalities where we all have access to it and maybe we pay a membership to be a part of it, or what? We get to design what it is. And I'm starting to see these things perking up and I'm like, ooh, this is so exciting. Like, and we're really at that forefront of being able to just be limitless with our ideas and put them together and create them right now from the ground up. And I imagine, hundreds of years ago when the medical industry started, it was like just as exciting, right? It was like, oh my God, we're going to help all these people, right? And now we have all these other modalities and all these beautiful offerings that are coming out. So I just,
Possibility keeps expanding, and like, and then what I'm seeing the same thing in like the business world, more conscious leaders, more transparency, more authenticity, more operating from this place in the business world. And then I think, what is the ripple effect of that? Like it, to me, that's just beginning. And there's so much room for growth and opportunity there to bring higher levels of healing and consciousness into the business space.
absolutely. I know. Well, I like that we're having this conversation because sometimes some people will say, God, it feels so dark. It's like the end of the world. Like all these terrible things are happening. And I'm like on the other, I'm on the other side of that coin. I'm like, no way. There's so much amazing stuff happening. And I just saw something out about, it was a documentary about regenerative, let's slow down, Nicole. I'm so excited. Regenerative agriculture. And I was like, I didn't even, I mean, I don't know. I'm at the tip of the iceberg with knowing what all of that is, but just seeing, like you said, these conscious leaders that are starting to talk about even like completely redesigning agriculture and what that would even look like. And it just blows me away. So I'm like thinking, yeah, there's going to be this kind of split where it's like old world, new world,
Yes.
and it's like what side of the world do you want to be on? And I know you and I are making claim and staking in this other in this
Absolutely.
positive place that like it's gonna really blow our minds what's gonna happen on this planet, and to just have and hold that vision and that intention for wellness and holistic healing and transformation, you know?
Yes. Yes, I
Yeah.
agree. I think keeping the for me, keeping the light side, having awareness and knowing that by holding on to the vision of the good, what's the good we can bring? And even with technology, technology can be used for evil, it can be used for good, but we can choose to use it for good and advance in that way. And I think that's what we're doing for sure. And hopefully just keep sharing and spreading that as much as we can, right?
Yeah, well, I saw your all these AI pictures that you're making these days. I'm like, she's got some great design with the AI going on.
Well, yeah, and I actually participated last year. The UN put on sponsored a hackathon that was all about using GPT for good. And you were talking about regenerative agriculture. One of the things that I learned that was so cool is that they're using AI and 3D printers to create these models of coral that can actually be put into coral reefs to regenerate and grow
Wow.
coral and to heal, the coral reef. So there are so many, we hear sometimes the negative or the potential risks and people go into that place of fear. But there are so many amazing positive uses of AI and technology if we choose to lean into that and learn
Oh
more
my.
and be curious. Some people are like, I don't want to learn anything, but like I just would ask people to stay curious, stay open about the possibility of the good while staying aware.
Yeah, oh, I love that. That could kind of be our a little bit of a wrap up because I love how you said that. Like if you wanted to leave the audience with anything, including obviously we'll put in the show notes all of your amazing links and everything that you're doing. And if there's anything that you want to share or any project that you're specifically working on that you'd like to talk about in the next few minutes, and then we'll kind of wrap up.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, the thing I'm passionate about right now is growth under influence. Even though I'm working for this other startup, my passion is deeply rooted in a mission to work with transformational healers, coaches, entrepreneurs, and help bring their offers and who they are out to the world. And so I've built an incredible audience of coaches and also really people who want these programs and are seeking healing. And so I'm using sort of my audience and my platform now to continue to share these offerings and programs. So I'm always looking to connect with coaches and mind, body, spirit. I call it mind, body, spirit, wellness, entrepreneurs, coaches. If that is you and you want to connect, then let's just chat and have a conversation. I'm starting to share and really sort of be a connector for these offerings and these programs while also building a team of, we're calling them influencers, but this could be really anybody who also loves and is passionate about healing and growth and transformation. And maybe you're active on social media and you want to share this also. So there's an opportunity, of course, to make money. But aside from that, it's really sort of creating a connection between getting these beautiful people out there, sharing them, and just spreading, growing that, growing that awareness. So that is really kind of my passion right now. And I would love to connect with anybody interested on either side of like, oh, I want to share these programs and I want to sort of be, be a messenger of this as well, with a financial opportunity there. Or I want to my program, I want to share, my coaching program. So yeah, reach out to me on that. And that's really the main thing I'm focusing on right now, aside from what I'm doing with Evolve Well.
I love that. Thank you so much for putting that together. And is that growthunderinfluence.com?
That is, yep,
Okay.
growthinfluence.com.
Perfect. All right, we'll have that in the show notes. And really, I just wanted to say thank you so much for offering all your wisdom today and everything that you do. And I'm just always so impressed with all the projects that you're working on and how you manage to keep it all together. And it's just incredible. And you're just an amazing woman. So thanks so much for
Thank you
coming
so
on
much. This was so
today.
much fun, and
Yes.
I love that you're sharing women, and we just, keep shining, keep lifting each other up, keep sharing each other, because I've also learned that that is in the receiving, the more we share each other.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. And that's what I said at the beginning, right? I say we lift each other up higher and higher, and that's how we grow and expand and evolve. So thank you so much for coming on here and sharing your wisdom. And to all the people out there, as we wrap up, if you want to hear more amazing stories and want to hear from incredible women like Rachel, then just subscribe to this channel for the Empowered Women podcast, and we will be with you shortly again and again and again and again. Lots of love. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.